Well, hello everybody. My name is Lindsay and I, in this video, was still pregnant. I am no longer pregnant anymore. But in this video, I wanted to share with you some decluttering my to-do list, which is just kind of a series I like to do where I just show you my to-do list. I'm getting things done on the list of things to do, and this was a list of things to do before I had a baby. I filmed this video about 2 weeks ago, and I'm really excited to share it with you finally. I took a little bit of time off. I was going to post these videos, if you can hear a little cooing in the background. I was going to post these videos sooner, but you know, life happened, and that's fine too. So I was 39 weeks pregnant when I was filming this, well, like 38, 39, and it took me about 5 days to probably film this video. I don't really remember truly. So I started with this hook board that I wanted to put in the bathroom because we were going to have some company staying at our house while we were in the hospital having our baby, and they were staying to watch the dogs. So I wanted to make this hook board. So I made it. I put the hooks on first before I stained the board. And then I stained the board, and that took a little bit of time. So you'll see the progression of that throughout a few, like the next few minutes, but also over the course of a couple days as well, because I did that. So I would stain it, and then I set it outside to like kind of sit for a minute because it was really stinky. So I just set it outside to let it kind of sit and soak in that stain, and the stain was really gray. I didn't want it to be so gray, so I did mix a couple different stains together. I had one that's more like the honey color of my countertops, and so I kind of mixed that with the gray, and that kind of just became you'll see the color at the end. I really like it. Sometimes you just kind of have to play around and see what you like, and these were the two stains I had, so it's what I used. So yeah, so I'm just working on getting the stain set into the board and making it look nice, and I did end up using a brush, and I think that worked a little bit better than a rag, or I think I was using like some paper towels or something. I don't remember what I was using, but so I just put it in, like I used the stain and then I put it in a bag, put the brush in a bag to let it sit for a little bit, and you'll see the board does come out really nice in a little bit. But here I am doing dishes, which is something I always have on my to-do list. I literally have dishes in my sink right now that I need to do, and that's just how life is. There's always dishes. There's just always dishes. And so getting the dishes done is always such a nice thing. And so like the thing that I just pulled out of the dishwasher though, it is like this like baking mat, and sometimes it comes out, like if I put it in there and then I don't, usually I'll spray the power wash on there before I put it in the dishwasher, and then it doesn't come out greasy. But if I just stick it in the dishwasher without spraying that on there, it will come out greasy sometimes. So I'll like take it out of the dishwasher, spray it, and then put it back in the dishwasher. But somehow I can never wash them good enough when I just do it by hand either. So, I just have to just kind of do what I have to do. It really is kind of weird watching myself as I'm pregnant now, like in the video, because I am no longer pregnant, and it's like really interesting to see myself like waddling around while pregnant, because I'm now waddling around, recovering from a giving birth and a C-section and all those fun things. I will be doing, well, I don't know, like, what do you guys think? Do you think you want like a birth story video? I don't know if you need one, but I could make one. But yeah, or just like a introducing little baby into our lives. But I haven't filmed a lot. I probably should have filmed more, but honestly, I've just been soaking in the newborn snuggles. He's literally on my chest in a wrap right now, and which is kind of where he always wants to be, just snuggling mom. But, it's hard to decide if I want to do like a full-on video introducing him / like a birth story video. I don't know. What do you guys want? I didn't film a ton in the hospital or anything, just because I don't know, I felt like it was kind of personal, and I think I needed the break. So I was just not wanting to film all that. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, but you guys let me know what you guys want to see. Maybe we can do something really fun. But yeah, it's really interesting adjusting to two kids. It's definitely a, one of those things that's like you don't expect it to be as hard as it is, and then it's a lot harder. Like the other day we had two blowouts from two different kids in the same hour. So actually, like, I had to go take care of one and Devin had to go take care of the other, and oh, it was fun. And it's just learning how to be a parent to two kids is interesting as well. Just learning and also healing at the same time, and trying not to overdo it, but also trying to keep my house tidy. It's all those things. I'm just learning, and it's been nice taking a break from filming and doing all that because I think I've needed it. But yeah, so just doing the dishes in this video and watching myself be pregnant is very interesting. So it's kind of fun to know that I am no longer pregnant. That's actually very nice to know that I am no longer pregnant, because pregnancy was hard, and it's nice to like stand on the scale and see my weight go down. Every day it goes down a little bit more because I'm like, my uterus is shrinking and all those fun things. So that's fun to see. Oh, and this next thing right here, I decided I wanted to paint this door before going to the hospital as well. I don't know why. I just kind of was like, I could do it really quick. So I pulled it off of its hinges and I left the hinges attached to the actual cabinet. And this is just the door that covers the little cabinet for my baking sheets. That's just on the side of I built it into the wall, so if anyone decides to take out cabinets, they're gonna have fun taking that out, I'm sure. Dan was having a good time helping me put putty on it to fill it in. And then, do you see the transition between my carpet and my flooring? I've been needing to put transition strips there for forever. So I bought some transition strips, and then I was just like, okay, I'm just going to cut them and put them in. I'm not going to stain them. I'm not going to get them ready. But I did buy that gray stain for this, and then I think it's a little too gray, but we might be able to make it work still. Maybe. We'll have to see. As you can tell, I am a little bit tired. Staying awake all night with a newborn is no joke. But yeah, so here is the transition strips. I just got them from Home Depot, and I think they're Traffic Master, well, they might not be Traffic Master, but they're the same ones that I have for the transition between the stairs, right? That, like, if you look by Dan's head, there's a little transition strip there, and then in the pantry that's in my kitchen as well, I used it for that as well. But yeah, so here I am just marking how big they need to be, and then I used a jigsaw to cut it, and I just cut them off camera, I'm pretty sure, because I was like, I'm just gonna do this really fast. Because they're just like, I just had to make 3 cuts, so it wasn't too crazy. And then, so after that, I was able to, so here I'm still marking it. I don't know why I didn't speed this clip up a little bit faster, but, oh, Dan was playing with the little nozzle for our whatever it's called, the hose outside. There we go. I did write on the inside of each one, because each doorway was a different size. So I wrote on the inside of the board where it needed to go so I didn't forget, and so it was a lot easier. And Dan was super helpful. He helped me put the screws in place, and then helped me hold it in place, and helped me close the doors to make sure that they looked nice. And I just love that he has putty all over his pants right there. Anyway, and so yeah, so I would definitely recommend marking where you're putting them if you're doing more than like one. So that was helpful, and Dan was being super, super cute and super helpful, and usually he is pretty helpful, but honestly, guys, I have to say something, but doesn't that look so much better with the transition strip there, even though it's like not the right color, but it works really good. It does. I do need to, I think, stain them still and make sure they look nice, but and then this is the one where there's like a good amount of, like, the level is, it really needed this kind of transition strip because it's like so high off the ground. So I was making sure it lined up with the door. So Dan was helping me close the door so that I could line it up. And then and then he was helping me put the screws in and doing all that. But guys, after I got home from the hospital and Dan came home, like he had visited us in the hospital a few times, but he came back home, it was like he grew a foot overnight. It was crazy to see how big that little boy is. And it might just be like the difference between the new baby and him. And it's just like he's so big compared to the new baby and all of that fun stuff. But like, it's just crazy to think how big he got while we were away. And it might just be perception and all that, but he's such a big boy. It's crazy. Anyway, so here's my board, and that's the color it came out as. I think it looks really pretty. I don't think it's like my favorite color ever, but I'm just putting some polyacrylic over the top. And I actually used the polyacrylic on the cabinet door as well, the one that I was painting green. I actually haven't started painting it green yet, but I was doing like the polyacrylic and then also putting these rocks that I got from the Dollar Tree into Dan's little, he has this little Tykes basketball thing, and so I got these little rocks from the Dollar Tree. I got about 3 bags of them, and I started filling up the base because anytime he would play with it, it took for like it took forever. It did take forever to put these rocks in there, but I was trying to say anytime that he would play with it, he would knock it over. So I was like, okay, we need to actually fill this up with sand or rocks or something. And I was at the Dollar Tree, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab 3 little bags of these 1 pounds of rocks or whatever. I was also watching Young Sheldon. I don't know if you guys have seen that. But yeah, so then I stuck the hoop back in and it doesn't knock over, which is really nice. And then here I am doing another coat of the polyacrylic, just trying to make it look nice. And yeah, I think it does look really nice. Once the hooks are in and it's on the wall, it looks really nice. I don't know if it looks amazing, like it's not fantastic, but honestly, I made this board with a piece of wood that I had in my garage, and then I bought the hooks, like 40 hooks for like $8 on Amazon. So yeah, I made it for really cheap, and I have a lot of hooks to make other things with, which I'm planning on making a few other things. So wish me luck. I might make like a necklace holder, or I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see what I decide to do. But um, obviously those are not my priority, but I was trying to fan it off with a little piece of the flooring. But it does kind of look like the same color as the flooring there, so maybe I'll have to just use that as the color for my transition strips, is just combining those 2 colors together. And then after I put the hooks back in, I did end up putting some things on the back, which were just like little hooks to put it onto the wall. So I did it 16 inches apart since studs are normally 16 inches apart. And then I put it in the wall, and I only put it into 1 stud because I don't think my studs are 16 inches apart. But they're fine. It's fine. It's not going to go anywhere. It's pretty much going to stay right where it is. But yeah, these are like little picture framing hooks that you just kind of screw into a picture frame or one of these. And then I just took it downstairs, and you'll see me and Dan downstairs working on this as well. And here I am searching for studs, and there was one right there, and then there was one, I think it was on the other side that I actually used a stud though, but I did have to end up moving the picture that's on the wall as well, because when I hung up the hook board, it was not centered underneath the picture, so you'll see me move that, and then I used I used the drill as a hammer because I was putting a nail back into the wall. But I didn't have to hammer very hard because it wasn't actually going into a stud or anything. So it just was nice to have something hard to use. And then, yeah, so 16 inches apart is where I put those, and it hung up really nice, and I think it looks really good. And then here I am just moving this. I just kind of eyed it. I wasn't really gonna make it perfect because I don't care. This is the guest bathroom. It's not that important for it to be perfect, and I think it looks good. And then I set a picture of it because I was talking to my sister on the phone. I sent a picture of it to my sister being like, look at my hook board I made. I'm so talented. I had to turn off the light though because the glare of the lights were pretty severe. Okay, and then I decided to go into Dan's room, and I was needing to silicone the little crevices between the wall and the trim around his door because it was a little gappy. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do this, and then before I paint it, because obviously it needs to be painted because I've puttied everything. And guys, this doorway is not a pretty sight even while painted. It's not perfect, it's not amazing, but it works. And that's my life right now. I'm like, it's not great, but it is what it is, and it works. So that's all I can say about it. But yeah, so while I'm doing that, I'm gonna play you guys a song. So here we go. You got a smile that makes the sun rise. You make it shine. But I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you got style, the way your body makes my heart beat sound. It's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need in life. Oh, I want you. Can't you see? I want you. I believe, 'cause I want you here with me. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go crazy for love. I look at you, I know it's alright. You read my mind, but I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you got style, the way your body makes my heart beat sound. It's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need in life. Oh, I want you. Can't you see? I want you. I believe, 'cause I want you here with me. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go crazy for love. I don't need another love. Yeah. We do this every day. We do this love for life. You got a smile that makes the sun rise. You make it shine. But I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. Dan doing the vacuuming is so dang cute. It just makes me so happy. So this shelf in my bathroom really needed to be given a top coat. So the top coat I used was the polyacrylic that I used for the shelf, like the hook board that I did for the other bathroom. So I came in here, grabbed a couple wipes, and just kind of wiped the board so that I could kind of smooth out the surface, because it's gotten some water damage on it a little bit just from the bathroom being so wet. But also I put my like hand soap on there to keep it away from Dan, because he'll go into the bathroom and then use all of the hand soap in one day. But also, like, look, it kind of pulled some of the paint off the wall. I didn't fix that because the board was just going to cover it anyway. But so I took that into the kitchen and I just used the polyacrylic really quick. I did about 3 coats of that to make it look a little bit nicer, and then yeah, and then I put it back on the wall. So after sanding this doorway and making sure that it was all ready to go, I took my primer. This is just like my drywall primer, just to cover up all of the putty and all of the stuff that I put on this doorway to fill it in and make it look a little bit nicer. Not perfect, just nicer. So I went in with my primer first before going in with my trim paint, and I'm so happy to be done with this because I've been working on this doorway for, I don't even know, I'm sure some of you might be able to tell me, because I started the doorway forever ago, basically when we got Dan's room put together. I still have to put the trim, like the baseboards in his room, but getting the doorway done was a big feat, and I still, like, once we get the baseboards in, I'm gonna go around the doorway and paint that as well. I might do that before we do the baseboards though, actually, because that might make more sense because the baseboards will already be painted when we put them in his room. But anyway, so we still have to do that. We did all the baseboards in the main area and the hallway and stuff, and that was really nice, but getting the baseboards done in his room will be amazing. I'm so excited. So yeah, just working on getting everything primed, getting it ready to paint the trim with the trim paint. I think I only did one coat of the trim paint, but I think it was enough. But maybe I'll go back in with one more coat before we paint the walls. I don't know, I haven't decided. But yeah. I'm just remembering how hard it was to like bend over while being this pregnant, guys. I am so glad to be done with that part of the pregnancy. I'm done with the pregnancy. That's crazy to think about, but very exciting. And yeah, so I am so happy to not have to bend over with a big belly anymore. And now I'm just bending over with a C-section incision. So yeah. Also there across the hallway, you can see in the hallway underneath that picture of the birds that my mom painted. There is like a spot on the wall of putty and stuff. I would have been filling in little spots and cracks and things in my walls as well. So I need to bring out the house paint and also probably the primer again for the ones that I didn't get with the primer. But I need to prime everything and then do a coat of some house paint on top of them just so that we can get it going. Oh, I guess I got another clip of this of me putting some more polyacrylic on there. I was making sure it was super smooth with the foam brush because I felt like that was going to give it the most smooth finish with a foam brush, and I ended up using the foam brush to paint the entire cabinet door, the little one. So that made that easy, just having that big chunky foam brush. And here's the house paint, or the trim paint, which is house paint, but the trim paint, which I did in a satin, I believe. I've been using satin for the trim, and then eggshell for the walls, and then I do a flat paint for the ceiling. And the color of the trim paint is called Solid Opal by Bear, and I really love it. The color of my walls is also called Crisp Linen, and it's like, I don't know, it's just, I really like it. It's just like a really nice off-white, kind of yellowy almost, like a, I don't know, like, I don't know. I like how it's just like a little bit yellowy, like a little almondy, you know, and I think the color that's a little bit darker than it, like a darker version of the crisp linen, is called Almond Wisp. And I think that's the one I was leaning toward first, but when I painted it on my walls inside my house, when I was like trying to decide what color to do, it was just a little too dark. So I decided to go with the lighter version of that because I had gotten like I'd gotten a small little sample size of the Almond Wisp, and guys, I'm not gonna lie, I took forever to pick out the color for my house, so I better like it. I am just, and like when I paint a new room, I'm like, I'm just gonna choose that color. I know I like it, and I don't have to think about painting anything. So yeah, so I got the trim paint on there, but as you can see, I did not tape or anything. I didn't even try and not get it on the walls because I was like, it's gonna be too hard with the door being so close to the wall next to the closet. So I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna paint it and then go around with tape later to do the wall paint, which I'm gonna have to touch up anyway. So I was like, I'll just do tape later to do the wall paint. But there's my little shelf in the bathroom. It has been holding up much nicer now that I put the top coat on there to keep all the stain in, because it was like dripping stain down my walls and stuff, so I might have to go in with some paint in the bathroom as well and just cover up the stain that kind of went down the walls underneath it, but it's okay. I'm not worried about it right now. But here I am putting together, I had been putting together these car seats for a week. No, I don't know, a few days. We were trying to clean both Dan's car seats because we have one for each of our cars. Well, technically we have 3 cars because Devin has like a commuter car that he drives to work right now. It feels bougie, but it's really not. We have a truck that Devin loves, and then we have my car, which is like we bought for like $1,600 when we first got married, and then we bought this other car for like $1,800. So like they're not bougie cars. They're just we have 3. It feels like a lot because we don't have a lot of space for cars though. Anyway, so I was cleaning the car seats and putting them back together, and it felt really nice to have them clean because they've been dirty. I did spray some Shout on this one before putting it in the wash, and I think it got out more of the like stains and stuff, and not all of them because car seats get really gross, but I was happier with the way this one looked coming out of the washing machine. Anyway, so I just kind of threw it together so that we could have it in the other car, and it was really nice to have them clean before going to the hospital for this baby because we sent one of them with Dan's grandma when he was being watched by her. So yeah, it was nice to have a clean car seat for her. I'm sure it still got dirty in the like 3 days before sending him, but there's that. And then I had all these blankets in this room this is the guest room, and I wanted to get them out of here just because they didn't need to have like a million blankets stacked up in this room. I think I left one, I don't remember, maybe I didn't, but I think they were just in the room across the hall, so if they needed blankets, hopefully they found them. And then there was this spot on the ceiling that I've been working on puttying and making look nicer as well, and so I just kind of did a little bit to fill in the holes again, and just slowly but surely getting this room put back together. This is where we had a malfunction with the plumbing. That was the room above this room is Dan's room, his new room, which used to be the kitchen, and right where I am doing this is where like the plumbing was for the sink. So we had to seal that off, and it's been about a year since we sealed it off, which is good because that means it's had time to dry out and everything. So I was just making sure it was dry before I was putting any putty up there, right? No, I just was being lazy and didn't finish it, but slowly but surely working on things. And obviously I did not paint this because we want to paint the room the same color as the rest of the house at some point. It will just take some time to get there, and I probably will buy like a 5-gallon thing of paint just to do the whole basement and like the hallway and everything. So yeah, that will be fun. At some point we'll be doing that. That's not today though, but yeah, so I just kind of filled it in a little bit on the ceiling there, just to kind of work on it. And then Devin did go later and vacuum the whole basement after I did that, so it was nice and not covered in putty on the floor and stuff. Anyway, so I went into the kitchen where the little cabinet door was sitting, and started sanding it, making it look nicer, hoping that it would kind of blend in with this black piece that I attached to it. I just glued that piece on one day, and I think it looks really nice. I think it looks good now that it's done. I think this is the last project I'm doing, other than like I do clean up the kitchen in the video as well. But I had to fill in a couple spots that didn't look super great after I started sanding. I'm like, oh, dang it. Like I missed a couple spots. But that's kind of how sanding works. Like you have to sand things and then like see if there's any little gaps in things, and then you have to put more putty in and let that dry, and then you have to sand it again, and then it's a process. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. I probably did speed through this project a little bit and not like do it perfectly, but I really was not that worried about it being perfect. It's just this little tiny door in my kitchen that I use, but it's not like the most seen thing in the kitchen, but it was kind of standing out like a sore thumb before when it was not the same color as the cabinets, but now I think that it's the same color as the cabinets. It feels a lot better, so I'm really glad that it's finally done and looks good. And you'll have to tell me at the end. I do try to put a handle on it. I didn't like actually drill holes or anything, but I like set a handle on it. So you'll have to tell me if you think I should put a handle on it or if I should just leave it plain. I did just use the same primer as the walls. This is just my like my drywall primer. I was like, it's already out. I'm just gonna prime it with this. I'm not that worried about it. And so that's what I did. I just primed it with that really quick and just tried to make it look decent. I don't know. It really wasn't like something I was that worried about looking perfect. And primer really helps just make a good solid surface for you to be able to put good paint on and stuff. And this was already there, and I was like, you know, cheap primer is better than no primer. So and I was not about to go get the oil-based primer from my basement because that stuff stinks. I use that for the actual cabinets, but I'm tempted to use the polyacrylic on my cabinets instead, because I did a what was it, polyurethane on top of the cabinets, but I'm tempted to like patch up any little spots on the base cabinets and then go over it with the polyacrylic with like 3 coats of that, because I feel like it's just a little bit better. I don't know. I'm tempted to do that. We'll have to see if I decide to do that or not, but we'll have to see because that's like a big job to do that. But maybe I'll do like one door at a time. But there's just like little tiny nicks and things that drive me nuts. But I'm wondering if I did the polyacrylic on top, if it would stop it, like if I did 3 coats of that. I was planning to do that to begin with when I painted these cabinets, but you know, I didn't, and I kind of regret it. But we'll see. I don't know. I'll have to see if that's what I decide to do or not. But just cleaning out the sink again, doing more dishes. This was over the course of a few days, so obviously there's always dishes to do. So, you know, just pulling my camera out to show you that, like, as I was doing all these projects, things were building up. Like in my sink, the sink was building up and the countertops were building up, and obviously it feels better when those things are cleaned and cleared off, but I still had projects to do and I still was trying to finish them before the baby came. And like, I don't know, I am kind of a busybody. The last week I did get kind of sucked into the Tears of the Kingdom, which is this new Zelda Nintendo Switch game. Don't judge me. But me and Devin are like hooked on it. When the first one came out, not when it came out, but like when we bought it, we got it for Christmas one year and we did not do anything else. It was like when we were first married and we did not do anything else for like 2 months. So if you can understand, we got a little obsessed and we're a little obsessed with it now, and like we'll sit and watch each other play, and I think it's a fun thing, and Dan thinks it's fun, and it's like the only video game that we really ever get obsessed about. I don't know, like sometimes I'll get hooked on Sims on my computer, but then I play it for like a week and then I'm like, okay, I need to stop playing this game. It's so dumb. um, yeah, so anyway, but yeah, so I cleaned out my sink and then I did sand the primer layer just a little bit with like a 600 sandpaper, whatever, grit, that's the word, 600 grit. It's just what I had on hand, and I was like, well, that will work. It'll make it really smooth. And then I went in with the base cabinet paint, which is Forest Edge. I did have to end up adding water to the paint though, because it had been sitting with the lid not on it all the way, so it was a little bit goopy. And so I added water and that worked because it is a water-based paint, so adding water is not going to ruin it. But yeah, so I think I had to do a couple extra layers though, maybe because I added more water than I should have. I don't know. Maybe I only did 3 layers. Every time I've done the cabinets, I've done 3 layers of paint. So I think I did 3 layers on this as well, but I don't know. It looks good, so that's all I can say. And I just used this foam brush that I already had out instead of using a foam roller, which is what I normally use, which did give it a slightly different look, but I don't hate it. So, you know, it works out. But yeah, so I did just paint this to make it look better. It does look better and it does look more uniform now, obviously, because it's all the same color. That's helpful. Also, you're gonna see my outfit change so many times in this video. It was just kind of funny. Like, I painted it and then I had to wait till the next morning to put the top coat on, the polyacrylic on, because I just started doing it that night and I was like, it's not dry enough for that. So I just let it sit overnight and then I did the polyacrylic on top, and I did about 3 layers of that as well just to keep it so that it would stay nice. And I've learned that if you do 3 layers of it, you don't have to retouch it up very easily. Like, you don't have to worry about touching it up again. And yeah, so hopefully it stays nice. I'm going to kind of let it sit for a minute before I decide if I want to do the other cabinets with the polyacrylic or not, because I want to see how it holds up with that being the top coat instead of the one coat polyurethane that I used on the other cabinets, you know? And now as I'm watching this, I'm like looking at my oven and being like, I need to clean my oven again. But I think it looks so much nicer with the door being painted and with it being the same color as the rest of the cabinets. It needed to be done. It was just something I'd been putting off for a while, just like everything else I do. But as you can see here, I am just like kind of setting the little handle on there. What do you guys think? Should I add it? Should I not? Should I leave it plain? What do you guys think? I can't decide. So that was something I was like, I'm going to ask you guys, because I was asking Devin. He's like, I don't care. I was like, I don't know if I care either. I think it looks nice with the handle, but I also am like, it kind of looks nice without it too. So I don't know. You guys can help me decide that one, I think. So here I am still trying to decide with my 8th outfit of this video. But anyway, I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!